Welcome back everyone to the second episode in the comp series. You can take comp as comparison, competitive, however you want to interpret it. Today we'll be comparing three Spyderco models. We got the Paramilitary 2 on top, the Manix 2 in the middle, and the Spyderco Shaman on the bottom. Shout out to GJR 1974 for posting a comment stating that they would like to see a comparison video. So I'm going to go through this step by step. If you see my first video episode in the Spyderco series, I commented stating the Spyderco Manix 2 is my favorite model in my collection from the Spydercos, primarily because of the ergonomics, the blade length, the ball bearing lock so that your fingers are out of the way. I will, however, try to be unbiased in my comparison of these three. Both the Shaman and the PM2 uses a compression lock, so that also has your finger out of the way. They all spider flick very well. They're also all great cutters from my experience. I've used all three of these for food prep, breaking down boxes, cutting up steak. I will say though, the PM2 has the snappiest middle finger flick. There it is. As you can hear, it snaps open. Let's take a look at the weight comparison. So the Shaman comes slightly below 5 ounces. The Manix 2 is looking at 4 1/4 ounces. Paramilitary 2 wins for the lightest knife out of the three at 3.7 ounces. Let's take a look at the measurements. So, PM2 overall is coming in about almost 8 1/4 inches overall. And the cutting edge is about almost 3 1/4 inches. The Manix 2 is coming in at about slightly under 8 inches overall, with a cutting edge that's closer to 3 inches. The Shaman is looking at overall almost about 8 1/4 inches, with a cutting edge almost at 3 1/4 inches. So if you want something with more cutting edge, I would say the Paramilitary 2 and Shaman are very comparable. This does have more belly than the PM2. So from a food prep standpoint, this might be a preference. However, it is thicker blade steel. So as you can see, this is thicker. This also tapers to a thinner tip. They both have great edge geometry though, as well as the Manix 2. So they're all going to be pretty slicey overall. The Spyderco Shaman probably the least sliciest out of the three. If we're taking a look at what these look like in the pocket, I would say the one that takes the least amount of real estate is going to be the Paramilitary 2. There will be at a point right there, which matches probably the same as there. So But overall, this is a slim, the paramilitary 2 is a slimmer profile in the pocket. They all have similar blade, knife handles that stick out in the pocket. So we can take a look at that in the pocket actually. This is going to be my first time trying to fit 3 knives in one pocket. Well, I'm not sure if there's space for that. But if you're going to measure against Spyderco Shaman and Manix 2, quite similar, the amount of knife that sticks out. Substitute that for the PM2 and a little bit more actually. So I'm going to say overall the paramilitary 2 sticks out more. There's more knife that sticks out in the pocket. Let's compare the ergonomics. The Shaman, once you choke up, very comfortable. Even if you don't, it's still comfortable, and the jimping will provide that extra grip that you need. For some reason though, it feels awkward to me because there's so much space for the finger choil that I can't help but choke up when I'm using this knife. And what would have been cool is if they added jimping right here. So as you choke up, you still get the advantage of some jimping on the spine. That's further down. Paramilitary 2. For some reason, this doesn't feel as awkward being in not using the finger choil. However, when you do choke up to the finger choil, this doesn't feel as natural as the Shaman. So for myself, I tend to use the paramilitary 2 in this grip without the finger choil. I do enjoy the ramp just because in addition to the jimping, you're also getting additional control and preventing slippage with the hump right here. Manix 2. I don't mind not using the finger choil, and the finger choil, I'm going to say, is slightly more comfortable than paramilitary 2, but not as comfortable as the Spyderco Shaman. And this has what I would say in between in terms of the hump between the PM2 and the Spyderco Shaman. There's really no hump in Spyderco Shaman right there. But the jimping is effective. Price point. Let's talk about the price point. The base model for the Spyderco Shaman is about $270. The base model for a paramilitary 2 is, for this particular one, with the Manix blade, it's $236, slightly above. The Manix 2 hovers closer, it's under 200. Depending on the model, they have some with the S10V blade steel that's above 200, but overall, the less expensive one out of the 3 would be the Manix 2. PM2 right in the middle, and the higher end would be the Spyderco Shaman. I would consider the Spyderco Shaman more of a heavy duty just because of the weight. It feels like an overall larger knife, even though when we measured and compared the cutting edge to the PM2, they were similar. I would consider the PM2 and the Manix 2 to be more EDC friendly. However, if you're concerned about how much real estate the knife takes up in your pocket, then I would go with the PM2. All three of these have highly customizable options. We're talking about replacement scales, clips, hardware. For the Manix 2, you can replace the ball bearing cage right here. You can get a titanium one, an aluminum, anodized. All three of these have had multiple sprints and exclusive. What are my final thoughts? All three of these are worth trying. For myself, I have plenty and lots of exclusive and sprints from all three models. Again, this is my favorite, and it's a toss-up in terms of which one's my second favorite between the Shaman and the PM2. And just, they're great all around EDC knives. Obviously, be cognizant of your state laws and how long your blade length can be for carrying a pocket knife, if you can even carry a pocket knife openly. I know those change from state to state, possibly even county to county. So something to be aware of. Yeah, I mean, they're relatively affordable compared to some of the high, mid-tech mid-techs and customs out there. These are great models. If you're planning to get one, do it soon, because as far as I've observed, the prices continue to go up. Obviously, lots of macroeconomic factors that impact that, but I think this is a great option just because you're getting the newest steel on the market, some unique texturing. The Shaman, if you want something heavy duty, but you don't want to break the bank. I know that $270 isn't light on anyone's pocket, but if you want something that's the least expensive option out of these three, I would go with the Manix 2. It's a very capable knife. Plenty of people enjoy this. As always, I'll leave resource links in my description on where you can find these, where you can find customizations, as well as one of the frequent visited sites for myself, Blade Forums. If you want to find something on the secondary market and don't want to get a new one, you want to test it out, great options there. So if you've enjoyed this, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to get notified for the next comparison review video. And yeah, hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Stay frosty.